Hello and welcome. I'm Michelle Vanderpass, your host and sponsor of Human Design Conference. And today I have Shari Thompson with me. Did I get your name right?
Shari.
Shari. See, I knew I said it wrong as I was saying it. So Shari is beautiful.
Thank
Uh,
you.
is that an English name?
I have been told that it's Persian, but I don't know why. We have no links to Persia. And then so I'm the eldest. Then my sister was Claire, my brother is Jack. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
I'm so thrilled to have you here. We connected. I'm not sure exactly how we connected, but I actually started following you in your Facebook group and your social media because you talk a lot about human design. Tell me how you first got into it.
Oh, okay. So actually, I was introduced to human design in 2014. I was working with a mentor, but it didn't really get me then. It got me a little bit later on. So I'd been on a whole journey of entrepreneurship and then understanding energetics. And it wasn't until 2019, I think, that it came back into my life. And as a sacral generator, I was, this is amazing. And I was all in with human design. I could see how it complemented all the work that I'd already done. So it was
Right. So
perfect.
the timing is
Mask
perfect then.
always. Yeah.
Right? Always the timing's perfect. Yeah. And you've gone on to offer human design services. You have an amazing Facebook community now. We're
Thank
going to
you.
invite people in. And you teach in that Facebook, you give free content. Like I'm following you. You're giving away stuff in there.
Yeah.
Um, Talk to me about what kinds of people you'd like to invite into that Facebook group. Should they be generators? Should they be entrepreneurs? Like, where do you specialize?
I specialize personally in business. So entrepreneurs, people who are using human design or would like to use human design to increase their impact and their income in their business in a way that's really aligned. So it makes it more sustainable, more fun. But actually, in my Facebook group, the Human Design Community, we have this whole array of topics that are going to be talked about, and experts coming in talking about different things about human design as well. So whatever your interest in human design is, whether it's business, lifestyle, relationships, there is going to be content in that space for everybody because it's just so impactful across the board.
Right. And what you can use in your business, you use, at least for me, I use personally as well, right? And I
Yeah.
found out some things about my personal chart, and I'm manifesting generator and I move really quickly. And but when I found out that's like I got permission to do that, right? It's like this is how I got permission to be myself, basically. It's like all over the place, work, friends, family. It just opens it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being able to use it in my business was kind of my entry point, but actually I'd already been embodying my human design without even knowing about it. I'm a 5-2 profile, so I'd already been embodying it without even knowing about it. So it's been super impactful in my business. It's also been a complete game changer with how I parent my son, who's a manifester. So I would show up to him as a generator and he would just go, no,
Right,
no.
right. So that's interesting. So give me one tip for, I know we have several manifestors coming to conference, and I know we have a manifestor presenter coming to conference, and of course, lots of people are going to see this video. Give me one tip for interacting with manifestors.
Okay, so wait, I know it sounds really simple when I say it. Wait for them to initiate, wait for them to inform. And so, for example, I used to show up to him a lot with food and be like, do you want this or this? And he would just say no. And so I'd go away. And then when he's hungry, he'd come and say, I'm hungry. Can I have this?
Right. And normal parenting, you'd say, but I gave you food. I gave you the opportunity. And
Right.
say, but I tried to feed you. Now you're hungry. And then in the old days, it'd be, well, wait, or go find yourself,
Yeah,
right? And so
exactly.
that's beautiful because now you realize that there's a gentle parenting is part of
Mhm.
what this is all called, this new movement. But it's beautiful to listen to how the other person really is being in the world.
Yeah, 100%, which is very interesting. I mean, I could talk about this a lot because it's very interesting in the education context and things. So this is where we're at now. He's 12. So this is where we're working currently.
Right. And the education system isn't always fun or easy to navigate.
So,
Anyway, and then you have manifester, who isn't not a big percentage of the population. I forgot offhand, you may remember, but
I always say 8%. I've seen different stats, but it's around 8%.
yeah, it's not huge. And so, teachers don't come across those kinds of kids each and every day, right?
Yeah.
So moving on, what's one thing that you've implemented in your business based upon human design that you've seen the biggest shift?
Okay. It's a great question. And my head goes the response, but actually my body says it's the embodiment. It's not even I wouldn't say it's even the knowing of, okay, I'm a generator, I respond. It's actually living that and embodying that. Because, and I guess so the answer is the response, because the response can take us out of our comfort zone. It can make no sense at all in terms of timing or direction and all of those things. So not only the response, but also trusting in my energy and in my body to follow that and know that everything's going to be okay no matter what.
Mm,
That piece has been,
interesting. And most people, I think, understand that, but this video may go to people who don't understand that. There's different responses, and some just come from,
yeah,
right? Do you want to
yeah.
talk about the different responses a little bit and how you use those maybe with your clients?
Yeah, of course. So I use the kind of impulse, like that big sacral response when it comes to things like launching. It's normally, okay, it's time, it's go time. Let's launch now. Okay, great. The rest of the time I have passive income and funnels and those kind of things supporting the business so that I'm ready to move into that response piece when you feel it take over your whole body. But I'm
Okay,
also,
I got a question. I have to interrupt you
okay.
here, right? Because I'm manifesting generator in my mind's.
Yeah, of course.
Do you ask yourself, or do you have a mentor or a sounding board ask you?
For launching, it's what I see in my reality. It's what I see coming through.
So it's not somebody asking you a question.
No, sometimes, so where I have the questions support me is in content creation. So
Mhm.
if I have people who I'm already working with and they ask me questions, I'm like, oh, this would be so exciting. I'm going to share about this as well. So like content creation every day, that comes from more of the questions. I see a lot with the responses. So for example, I have the gate of ideas. So I always have like a million ideas. And of course, they're always exciting. I love this and I love this. But I will write them all down and then wait for something outside of me. And it could be somebody asking me a question. For example, are you launching this, or do you have anything for this? Or even a mentor saying, have you considered this? But oftentimes, because I'm so interactive in the world, sacral style, I'll see things that come through that are, okay, this is where you need to go. And I've got a great example, if I may share, which is not so much about launching actually, but it was when we lived in Spain before COVID. I knew that we were going to go somewhere else afterwards, and I didn't quite know where. And I discovered that I'm a wet kitchens environment. So I went into this whole thing about figuring out so wet kitchens is where the hustle and bustle is, and like there's alchemy coming from lots of different sources. But the wetness is the humidity. I mean, it's really hot here. We're having some kind of heat wave, like
Okay.
burning up here. But it's like the humidity with the wetness. Where we were in Spain was very dry. So I was looking at all these different places, and I had Lisbon, San Francisco, and somewhere else that I had shortlisted. And with my open head center, I was like, okay, you figure this out, universe. You tell me what is going on. You bring the response to me. And I woke up in the morning and I had a text message from somebody I'd not spoken to for years. And it literally said, I've just come back from Lisbon. I think you'd really like it. And I had such this sacral, like, oh, this is where we're going. And if it was not for COVID, we would have been in Lisbon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Because in the human design community, very often we're taught, not everybody, but very often we're taught that you respond to questions and you listen and you feel into how you respond. So you get someone to ask you questions. And you're giving a bigger view of that, which is kind of, you tell the universe to send you the question to respond to,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Which I love.
You figure this out, particularly because I've got the open head center, like
Right.
completely no gates or anything. So like you figure this out, you bring the answers to me is kind of my standpoint, instead of spinning my wheels and you
Right.
know, trying to
Right.
figure it out. Because I think that when we have that, like the questions super useful. Like I do use questions as well, but for the big, like what I say, the bigger decisions, then I'm all for the universe, you guide me. I'm also non-specific manifester. So like the way that I'm using that is, I really think that the universe will bring what it is that we need to respond to in that moment, you know?
Right. And so how do you work with clients that may be projector or a manifestor? And do you work with clients of all types?
Yeah, I work with clients of all types. So the way that I work with them in their business is different because, you know, for projectors, for example, wait for the invitation. I have a lot of confused projectors who come to me and say, how do I run a business if I have to wait for the invitation?
Right.
And I explain it's not literal for your business, because everybody who follows you already invited you. Everybody who is in your group or on your list, they already invited you. And actually, it's more about the recognition than the invitation. And it's more about, how do you recognize yourself so this gets projected out into the world, and then more people will recognize you based on your energy and what you recognize in yourself. Hello, like overflow of invitations,
Yeah.
for example. And then manifestors, really tapping into understanding the rest cycles and when it's time to move, and knowing that, you know, everything that I talk about in human design is building that trust in the energy will come. You won't be able to stop it. You will know when it's there. You know, as a manifester, you know when there's something that's coming through and you can't stop it because you're in that flow. But you don't have to be forcing yourself in that flow all of the time. How do you create a business around that? How do you work with that energy?
Nice. That's so beautiful. And of course, we're not leaving out reflectors and
Yeah.
manifesting generators, but I want to
Yeah.
move on. So you have this Facebook group, everybody's invited. How do they
Yeah.
find the Facebook group?
It's the Human Design Community on Facebook.
Perfect. And then, yeah, you can get all the lovely goodies in there. If someone wants to, and we will put all the links in. So for
Okay.
anyone watching or listening, the links will be there. But for someone who just wants to work with you one-on-one, do you have like high-end packages, low-end packages, all of it? Like, can someone come, do they have to spend 100K to start working with you? What's
No.
your entry place?
Sure. So I have actually started working with people to train them in the way that I do human design, so that they can do a lot of the readings, because I don't do a lot of one-to-one, and I want to make sure that everything is really accessible. So there are loads and loads of free trainings in the group. There's readings. I have a book that goes through the basics of human design. There's loads of business trainings in there. And my pricing ranges all the way from £11 all the way up to, I mean, currently the training program is 5,000. And I don't do a lot of one-to-one around that. Actually, everything's kind of in between those prices. So
Perfect. So there's
yeah.
an entry point for everybody. It's not way over the top.
No.
And I love the new and fresh approach that you're bringing to our community. And I look forward to seeing you hanging out at the conference.
Yeah, me
And
too.
any last words of wisdoms to share with our audience?
Oh my goodness, so many words, so many words of wisdom. I mean, for me, the more that we can embrace the embodiment part of human design, the more impactful everything and everyone becomes in the world.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. We're going to heal the world this way, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you here. And for everybody listening and watching, we'll see you at the Human Design Conference. Bye,
Thank
everyone.